What's up guys, leftstickrightstick here again with another LittleBigPlanet team pick review. We've got some nice picks this week. We actually had some extra picks. There's 2 extra picks that were sort of repicked for, they used to be team picks, but I guess they got freshly repicked again. There was a Hungry Penguin level by AGACY and then the LBP Curators level of God of War Reset. But first we're going to look at Trains by Black Snake White 1. We've had a similar train level before by Deca 123. It had a much nicer aesthetic, slightly different gameplay where you're dropping off people. This one we're actually directing trains to certain stations. I do really like the top-down display, looking at everything. It's set up nicely on a little sort of toy train sort of table that you'd expect, of a train fanatic. The sort of trains are very nice, easily color-coded, although I feel like maybe it would have helped if we didn't have to move around so much, like we changed the camera. That wasn't so helpful, and it was really slow. I mean, the progression was really slow. It took 20 minutes to get to like the fast section, which was actually enjoyable to play. The beginning first 20 minutes was a bit tedious. I mean, I could walk off, I could set some switches for the tracks, walk off, make a cup of tea, and come back, and I'd still be fine with no issues whatsoever. So that's sort of kind of the annoyance with this level. It starts off very slow, but once you get, after 20 minutes, once you get to the fast-paced bit, it gets more fun, it gets more dynamic. You actually have to move around a lot and actually keep pressing the right stuff, got to plan ahead. But then by the time I sort of, kind of got frustrated with it already, so that's sort of the annoying bit. And aesthetic wise, it could really be improved, but it's still got a nice gameplay in it, which is quite nice, despite it, the good part not being till 20 minutes later. Then next we have Rocket Warp by AGACY. It's a really cool challenging level. There's a total of 8 rounds in this level, and basically you kind of warp between 2 different dimensions, I guess, the top and bottom, to avoid the walls and stuff. And you can sort of shoot stuff. There's a very simple sort of tutorial at the beginning, which is very useful, and you have to actually play that through before you go on, which is quite nice. And the main thing is that it's kind of challenging. It gets increasingly challenging, which is nice. It's got a nice pace, sort of like the little breaking of the shards, and then you just got to collect points as you go along. Obviously, aesthetic-wise, this could be massively improved, but the gameplay is actually there in this one. So this is a nice little level. It is quite challenging. I only got up to stage 4. I didn't get up all the way up to stage 8, but you kind of get faster and faster. And I like sort of the changing color scheme, so it doesn't stay completely boring, monotone. Well, there isn't much color, but the color that is there does change throughout the level, which is kind of good. And I guess the main issue I have is just the aesthetic. Is that it's very basic and simple. It could have been, I feel like it could have been easily improved, the aesthetic, but the gameplay, I quite like it. It's there, it's challenging, and it's sort of nice to see sort of where your ship is on the other dimension. I'm not really sure what quite if it actually is another dimension or what it is. There's no explanation going on. You are just surviving. It's a survival level, and I kind of wish that there was more color as well, but it's still nice. And there's also transitions between the rounds where your rocket changes color, which is quite neat. And that signifies the speed up, I guess. And it is quite a challenging level, I'm saying that again. But Rocket Warp is definitely well worth a play. Definitely give it a go. And then next is Vector World 2. It's a continuation of Vector World by scarybiscuit. This one actually looks a lot more impressive than Vector World 1, I think, just because I like the darker setting at the beginning, and then we go on to a cityscape, and it's quite nice. And maybe the danger element just looks more impressive. Maybe that's probably what it is. The sort of warp points, portals between. I really like the air, the laser guns. They just all the aesthetic fits really well, and it's great, and it's a unique style that really just don't see in LittleBigPlanet at all, really. So this is actually a really nice level, and I like the detail of this whole cityscape as well, which is very nice. And it's a great continuation of Vector World. Clearly there's actually going to be more to come. This is not just Vector World 2. This is a very slowly progressing story, and they do expand on the story through sort of speech bubbles from characters that you pass, and you're volunteering to be a pilot for a ship to find other sort of survivors, sort of thing. I think that's what it was. But the aesthetic is definitely the main draw of this level. The jumping and climbing mechanics I feel are improved actually over the previous Vector World. There's actually some mines throughout the level, which I found a bit difficult to avoid for some reason. I'm not quite sure. I was trying to jump over the whole thing, but it didn't quite always work out. I always exploded every single mine along the way. Pretty much. I mean, that one I could avoid it once or twice, but then getting back over to it, I will die here. So, but anyway, the lighting, atmosphere, and everything is really good on this level of Vector World 2. So you should definitely give it a go. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these team picks. I thoroughly enjoyed every one of them. Probably Trains the least, and probably Rocket Warp the most, but Vector World was definitely the most visually appealing. So definitely stay tuned for more LittleBigPlanet team pick reviews, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Click that like button below, and I'll see you next time.